All right, chat. Y'all see me? We're good. We're good. Make sure my audio works. We're gonna give Nick a couple of moments here. I want to make sure I'm showing on screen. We're gonna give Nick a couple of moments. I want to welcome everybody in. In the meantime, Blue, Suspiria. We have Suspiria here, y'all. Thank you so much for showing up. I appreciate you. Thank you for the interview the last time. I appreciate that. I'm super excited about today. Share the stream. Let's get as many people as we can in here to actually take part in the interview. While we work through some things real quick. I'm gonna try to get some people in here tonight. Everybody should be in here, really, though. Thank y'all for your patience. I don't know what's up with YouTube lately. We even had some issues on our Uncaped pod as well. Had some issues with YouTube loading up audio and all that stuff. It's been weird lately, but it's all good. We're gonna get it together. Stick with us. We're only starting a couple of minutes late. It's all good. Y'all see I got the Superman on though? Superman. GOAT. Superman's the GOAT. Blue Jack. Superman's the GOAT. Batman gotta take a seat. Boom. The man of the hour. Hello, Nick.
Hey,
How you doing,
hey.
man? Sorry about the tech issues, man. YouTube has been really funny lately. Even on my other podcasts, we've been having some real issues with it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I figured it out. I'm
yeah.
I'm that good.
Yes, you are,
That's
sir.
how
Thank
good
you
I
so
am,
much.
man. Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I do appreciate your time. Um,
Oh, thanks for
at
having me,
night
man.
as well.
Yeah. Well, this
All
is when I
right.
do all my work. So, yeah.
Nice. So, can real quick, I want to make sure I am saying your last name correctly. If you can just say that for me.
Marinkovich.
I said it right. Yes,
You did
Marinkovich.
say I caught it earlier when you did that post. Yes, you said it right.
Yes. So I actually Googled it. I wanted to make sure I was not getting it wrong. So I Googled the pronunciation just to make sure. And thank you for that.
Well, you know what? My whole life, people have been, I grew up in a very Anglo-Saxon neighborhood, so no one pronounced my name properly, and you just get used to it. I don't hold a grudge. But you got it right. No, you nailed it. Yeah.
I have to, man. Otherwise, I
That's
don't want to look crazy on the internet, like saying people's names wrong. So I really, really try my best. And we
yeah.
do have Suspiria is here tonight. Supporting us. So
Oh,
I'm
wow.
super excited about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
I've heard
So
of her.
just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
So I'm going to get into that too. But real quick, I want to let everybody know really quick how I actually was introduced to Nick. Nick was on my podcast with Suspiria when I was interviewing her in the chat. Now, I just thought I knew that they had to have some type of dynamic because I'm like, he's talking about knowing her mom and so forth and so on. So I was like, who is this? Who is this? And what's crazy is after the pod, I looked you up and I was like, oh my gosh, he is an amazing artist. He's huge. So this
Wow.
is why I love the indie space, is because we get
Yeah.
to learn you guys, you know what I'm saying, from a different perspective. Like it's honestly to me, you guys don't get enough attention because
Well,
I
thank you
literally
for
just
thank you.
learned about Suspiria like maybe March, right before MegaCon. So and I knew you guys have a cult following. Like you have some big followings. And the fact that, we don't not everybody knows you, I don't like it. So that's why I make it a
Mm.
point to actually give you all a platform to talk about your work and to make sure that you're seen. So that way people recognize your name the next time they see a cover or so forth and so on. So I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you having me, man. That's very flattering. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, your work is
Mm.
beautiful. You have an amazing skill, sir. Like
Oh, thank you.
amazing. So,
Thank you.
and,
Yeah.
and I saw majority of people that was commenting on the post, like you were coming here. They all seem to like you as well a lot. They they find you very handsome.
Yeah. That's my mom. Yeah.
I see you have no shortage of humor like Suspiria. So I'm gonna have a really good time with this.
Yeah.
Like seriously. So before I like to go into the questions, I
Yeah.
do like to make sure that I get to know you as well as everyone else that's viewing. They can get to know you as well. So that way, during the cons and everything like that, it's a familiar face. They can converse with you and then they'll know beforehand, right? So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about yourself. Where do you where do you live? Tell me about some of your upbringing, all that good stuff.
Okay, so I'm based and brought up just outside of Toronto in Canada. Um, and I got into comics at a very early age via my older brother, who I mean, he introduced me to the world of comics. Basically, I was I think maybe like 7, 8 years old, and and there's a huge age gap between the two of us. So he's introducing me to everything. Like there was also an indie boom. This is like early '80s. I'm really dating myself right now with black and white comics. So a lot of adult comics, and I was exposed to all of it at a very early age. Um, but I never really took it seriously. It was always like, oh, wouldn't that be cool to do someday? But I had absolutely no idea how to go about that. I never went to art school. I was, very get a proper job, go to university like you're supposed to. And I was quite studious. And so I did. And I got a degree. My degree was in genetics. And I did not work a single day in that field after graduating. I was um, unemployed, as most of us are right after. And an old buddy of mine was just like, hey, man, there's a con coming up. You want to see if we can get published like we always talked about? And I had literally nothing else going on. I was like, yeah, let's do that. Let me see if I can and I hadn't drawn in years. And we did up like 5 sample pages. And because of that, I had no portfolio. I had 5 sample pages. I ended up getting the the gig to do the adaptation to the Underworld movies. That's it. That's my start to it. And it sounds ridiculous and like I don't expect people to think like, oh, it's that easy. I think I just got lucky.
Mm,
But because of that, I was just like, oh my God, wow, this is all it really took. Like, you know, within 3 months, that was within 3 months from giving pages out, um,
wow.
that I got a call. Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
I got a couple questions about that. So, did you meet the director of Underworld as well?
No, no. So, um, okay, here's how, let me give you a little bit more background. So, I met Yannick Paquette, who this was before he like really exploded with DC and stuff. But he was still doing some Marvel gigs at the time. And, us being fellow Canadians, he's always really chatty and we used to, we loved his work and he was just a funny guy to chat with. And when he saw our stuff, he was just, like, hey man, let me show some of this stuff around. And at the time, I very much thought it was just, he's just being nice and we're never gonna hear anything. But sure enough, like just from him passing it like to one person to another, it somehow got picked up. And the director of Underworld, from what I heard, it's not like I ever spoke to the guy
Hmm.
personally, he loved the style and he, wanted to bring us on. And um, the style we were kind of doing at the time was a very, you know, I was really into John Van Fleet. I really loved like just the hard contrast but it still looked very lifelike despite being very minimalist. And I think the guy was going for like a Timu John Van Fleet, because obviously he could pay us a lot less. And man, I got that, and I remember that night I signed that contract. I went out and got a graphics tablet, and I was learning as I went, But we were also like I was watercoloring by hand, still doing traditional inks, traditional watercolors, but then I would render on the computer afterwards, and I totally learned that on the job.
Wow.
I was determined, man. I was determined, and it was like a tight timeline, but I really wanted to make that happen, and we got it done. Yeah,
That is
yeah.
amazing. First of all, watercolor is so hard to use. And that's just I'm intimidated. I use acrylics and I'm not that great, but I do okay. But watercolor though, I
But
don't understand the
and
science.
you know why I chose watercolor too. I was somewhat skilled in inks, somewhat, meaning I don't even feel I was at a professional level, but whatever. But I just looked at it as with over top the inks, I could just layer tints using the watercolor. And then anything after that, I could, that way the inks would still show. And meanwhile, I would have some tone and
Mhm.
some hues, And honestly, I didn't know any other way to do it without covering my inks because with acrylics, it's opaque and
Right.
watercolor was not. Um, it was just like, I was learning on the fly, and that's why I did that. And I figured at the end I could always do rendering in Photoshop, which is what I did. Yeah.
That's very interesting that you're talking about because I mean, even from the time that you just said that you were drawing, you haven't drawn for a long time, and you went into
Oh
this
yeah.
like, hey, let's just see how this goes. Going back to the history of what influenced you to start drawing in the first place, like what was it that really influenced you to say, hey, I'm gonna pick up a pen and pencil, see what this go, how see how this goes.
Oh, I know exactly that moment. I was a diehard X-Men fan when I was little. And I mean starting, right at the beginning of the Dave Cockrum run with the new X-Men. Okay, no, I kind of had to go back issue to that. The first book I ever got, it was the Dark Phoenix compendium, the volume that came out, and it had that beautiful Bill Sienkiewicz cover.
Hmm.
Um, and I think you can still get that print in that volume rather. But this was the first printing of that, and my brother had it. And I just said, "Man, look at this cover!" I loved cover art, And I saw that. I read it in like, I was young at the time, and I read right through it, and then I was like, okay, I have to find out what happened before this. And then that's what got me into collecting. That's what got me into digging through bins to find back issues and then going forward from that. And I mean, I could tell you every X-Men artists in sequence from like Dave Cockrum through to John Byrne, Paul Smith, John Romita Jr., et cetera, Mark Silvestri. It was around that time that I went to, after Mark
Hmm.
Silvestri, right when Jim Lee was starting, that I went to university. So then I kind of stopped collecting for a long time. And then, when you get back into it, um, you know, you're into a bit different things, but I still hold that reign of comics that run really dear to my heart. And I used to like try to draw like Dave Cockrum and John Byrne. I used to get panels that I really liked, and I would just have it there and try to copy what they were doing. I didn't know how else to do it. I just, you're copying until you kind of figure out a style of your own. But
And
then,
that's
you at that time, you
yeah.
copy, and then you've got another artist like, oh, I want to draw like that.
Hmm.
Oh, I want to draw like that, and it's kind of that. And then at one point in your life, you kind of like you're like, I know what I want to do, and it doesn't look like anything else I'm doing right now, so I'm just going to keep on doing that, making it work. And I think that's when you kind of really gel into your own style.
And that's exactly where I was gonna go next because to be honest with you, your style is not like any other that I've seen personally. So once I saw it, of course, when anything, I think that's what we do it visually because when we see things and we're like, okay, this I've never seen this before. So then I started going down a rabbit hole. I started looking at all your work like that you have posted on Instagram anyway, and I was like, this is striking. It's very powerful and aggressive, which I love because the tonality of it when using your blacks. Like I said before in the the piece that I wrote before, let people know come in. I was like the contrast. You way you use blacks is beautiful. Like it really is. And I never
Hmm.
seen inked like figures so heavy, like using black so heavy on that. But you do it and you do it in such a way where you don't focus on that part of it as far as shadows go. It works really well with the colors you use. They're not like you don't have like a like the color's not popping, but I love how muted it is because it gives it definitely gives it like some emotion to everything that I've
Yeah.
seen that you have. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I was like, I started to find out more and more about how I can get a hold of your art because I had no idea again, but it was a great opportunity for me to actually kind of learn and like see like
Mhm.
what's possible outside of what I normally see with capes. Lots of colors, you know what I'm saying, and the inking is done really differently, but yours has a real like I don't know, it's almost poetic the way it looks, so it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you, thank you. You should be my publicist. That sounds amazing. But I mean, even that, I can trace you my influences. Like I was, heavily in terms of the high contrast. I mentioned John Van Fleet, but there's also like Mike Mignola, especially when if you look at Mike Mignola's early work, it's a lot different than what he's doing, than what he evolved into. But I love that. Like I loved seeing that progression as he got more minimal with it. And
Mm,
then what I loved about Mignola, and I would say the same thing with Miller, another big inspiration of mine is you could have a static image that's just exploding with energy. And a lot of artists do that via, like maybe a lot of hatching or intense like rough line work, but
right.
they didn't do that, it was just these blocks of black, but it was in the gesture that it was just it was still so powerful. And I thought like that's the way to do it, man. That's what I want. Like uh, demonstrating the most with the least. It's minimalism at heart, and
Hmm.
I was drawn to that. I wanted to try to experiment with that and make it work. You know, and
I
when
think with
I make my images, I'm doing that.
mhm.
I'm trying anyway.
No, you are because you're elevating modern art. I mean, really, I mean, it's fine art. It's on that cusp of fine art with the modern, and it's a great fusion as far as when I look at it. So for me, it definitely falls more into the fine art piece. The way your drawings are, they're not so cartoonish, they're not so static as most art is when I'm looking at these newer books. But yours, you have movement, and which is why I was telling Suspiria the same. Like I love when I look at a piece and it has some type of flow and movement to it because then it becomes something else that you're looking at. It becomes art. It doesn't become just a drawing. It's actual literal art. And she actually made a point in here. She said Nick brings back the way the old maestros used to paint, but with your own super unique flavor. True, and it's a huge influence in my work since I saw his artwork with Dead Romans, which I saw Dead Romans, and we're gonna go more into that regarding your own creative piece. I definitely want to talk about that because I need to get that in my hands as well. I do want to make sure I have a question here. What makes a comic book cover for you, and what are you trying to make the reader feel when they first see it? Excellent question. I got more issues.
Oh, that's a loaded question. Honestly, first things first, I want the reader to stop and look at it. I mean, I'm taking that as a fan. You know, I started, I still am a fan myself, and I'll even when I go to the comic book store, I'm looking at what's drawing my attention
Hmm.
on the shelves every time. Like I've never stopped being a fan, and because I'm looking like what's out there right now that's really catching my eye, you know, and what are they doing? And are there any trends? And sometimes if there's like something really trending with what's catchy, I'll sometimes, if I see like a dozen books on the rack that all kind of have the same kind of composition, I'm not doing that, you know, because I want that book to stand out. And I know that's like an oversimplification, but at its heart, that's what you're trying to do. And for me, like that's why sometimes I think even just um, like a headshot, a bust piece can be really engaging. They can do they just pop. I mean, you can't always do that. You got to change it up, but sometimes it's just like if you're doing it well, because in fact, I'm quoting Suspiria here, you know, like there's people who know how to work a bus piece and people who don't, you know, but those people who don't, they might be amazing at doing a really dynamic action piece. You know,
Hmm.
every artist has their strengths. Myself, I've always been really strong at doing headshots and bus pieces. I get to really, I don't know, I really like fleshing it out. It's natural to me, you know, and so yeah, I do that with I and on that vein, the really heavy action pieces, I think I sometimes struggle with that. I'm getting better. I did a lot with that recently with like some of the Diablo pieces and with Honor and Curse. I'm doing some of that, but I always and Honor and Curse is a great example because I'm doing the entire run, so I get to really change it up, you know? I can't just do headshots for the entire run. Um, so, you know, I change it up. I always read the book, and I know a lot of people don't. A lot of pros don't because they just don't want to bother, but I do, man. I always take the time. All you editors out there, I give you my time. So I'll read the book and because I want to get, you know, what's the feel? What's the feel of this issue? Let me get that on the cover,
Huh.
you know.
So
I'm just really OCD that way, man. I gotta get it. I gotta capture the vibe of the book.
see, that's something that I feel as though is a skill. I think number one you should, because in order for you to actually, the first thing we see as consumers is the cover. So it needs to
Yeah,
be some type of connection between the
absolutely.
cover and the interior as far as the story goes. So that's something that is huge. If you can take whatever that is and put it on a cover, that's a guaranteed sale almost. What are you
Yeah.
reading right now? Now I'm gonna ask that question. What are you reading right now? What's your
Oh my God.
favorite thing that you're reading
Okay.
right
Okay. F- I'm gonna be honest, full disclosure. I have a stack of books
now? Uh-huh.
that I've picked up. I have not dug in, and the pile on my night table is getting bigger and bigger, and
My
because I have just not had
video.
time to dig into it. So oh my God, here's one I just got recently. Hmm, hmm.
Oh,
By Rebelka, an artist I really like. Um, what else?
you
Oh,
prefer to read and trade?
I do. Not that I don't get my floppies, I do as well. But I know just for me, I even if I have the floppies, I always want to get the trade after no matter what. Yeah. You know, if it's good enough for me to get the floppies, I'm going to get the trade, you know.
Okay.
Sometimes I like to test out a bit with you know, but you know, you hit me with this and I have so many in my head. I'm like, what? Like for example, I got Charles Burns' Final Cut like a year or two ago, and that book is still sitting on the exact. I went to a signing with him here in Toronto, and that book, which I was really looking forward to reading, and I just haven't even dug into it yet. It's still sitting on my shelf. Yeah. Um,
That's, I mean, first of all, you're busy,
Yeah,
but I can understand because I
I'm
definitely
busy.
my
Yeah,
TBR is my to be read is has to be like this. And on top of that,
oh
I'm
yeah,
trying to close out runs
yeah.
of certain things, so I'm not reading those until I close out the runs. It's just a mess. But Suspiria asks,
Oh, I
if you
know.
could illustrate a
Yeah.
horror film like you did with Underworld, which one would you choose, or dream one to translate into sequential art?
Oh man, what a question. Suspiria. What a question. Yeah, that's a good one, man. That's a good one. I love folk horror. So I think that's where I would always be drawn to initially. Um, Ones that stick out right now off the top of my head, Suspiria will know this. One of my favorite horror movies ever is called A Dark Song, which no one's heard of, but is idyllic folk horror. And the whole movie is just about these two characters as they're performing a rite in order to summon an angel. It's a wild concept. It's a wild to be granted a wish. It's a wild concept. Anyone into horror, you're doing yourself a favor. That one, I really like that one. It's called oh my God. The one about those guys hiking in Sweden? What was it called? Like, was it Relic or something? Or it's a British movie, and the actors are all known. Oh my God! And they come across this like cult in this forest and this deity. What a great movie that was! Which I can't even remember the title because my brain doesn't work. Um, you know, another classic. You know, Hellraiser, which I always thought was
Ooh,
on the campy side, but I'm actually doing a cover right now for Boom,
really?
a Hellraiser, and I'm having a ton of fun doing it right now.
Who's the
So,
character?
but
Can you say?
Pinhead, of course, yeah, Pinhead, yeah, of course.
I
I
I'm
can't show you
super
right now; it
excited.
hasn't been released. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I am looking forward to it. First of all, I love horror. I love horror. In fact, the majority of the books that I'm reading right now that I'm totally enjoying are
yeah,
horror based. So I'm
yeah,
like Doug Wagner. I have an interview with him next in October. So I'm super excited because he has this playful way of bringing horror into it, and working with psychopaths. But it's absolutely wonderful.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I have every single one of those issues from Hellraiser on my pull list every single month that the new one drops.
yeah.
So I cannot wait for yours. And I think she said The Ritual, which I think I've seen that movie as well. But
Yes, that's what it's called, The
yeah,
Ritual. Yeah, what a great movie that was. Oh, on that vein, from and I just literally showed a thing that's about a Lovecraft story. It's a more of a bio about Lovecraft, but I would love to do like Mountains of Madness. That would be a really fun one to illustrate. Um, as well on the Lovecraftian. One of my favorite movies that I always talk to with Sus about is The Thing, the classic John Carpenter. I'm a diehard
yep.
fan, and um, or In the Mouth of Madness, which came later, and it's so underappreciated, but I love that movie. I would
Mhm.
love to illustrate that, and I think I could
Nice.
rock it.
That is
Absolutely.
awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Moving on to some of these here, we're gonna go with what's a surprising fact about you that most people don't know?
That I can run really, really fast. No, that's not even true. Um, what's a good? Yeah, that was a complete lie.
So there's a-
Um, yeah. Um, Surprising fact. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't think I'm that interesting a person. Um, I can swim really fast. That's true. I used to be competitive.
oh wow.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. There's more to Nick than meets the eye. Um, yeah. What's another surprising thing? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's that's
Yeah.
perfect.
Well,
So Slim,
I'll come to it midway through. I'll
yeah,
come to it
you say,
midway
you know
through and just launch it out.
what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we kind of went through some things here. What was it? So we already said your biggest influence. You already went through with that one. What's
Yeah.
something people often misunderstand about being an artist?
Well, I can tell you what I always misunderstood. And getting into it, I was so fixated on s- skill and the production aspect. And even like for me, I told you how easily I kind of got my start. And here's like a little background. So within 2 years, I had done Underworld. I'd done a series for Image. I'd done a series for Devil's Due. I'd done a series for Marvel. Well, not a series, like a one-off, but it was like a long piece. And yet I was still barely making bank. I was still like living paycheck to paycheck. And I, mind you, this was like a long time ago. This is like 2003, 2004. Um, And because I was completely, I didn't know how the business worked. I didn't know how publishing worked, how comics worked. All I was doing is trying to get gigs, which you're not going to get very far if that's all you're, all you're trying to do. So then I even got out of it for a while. And when I got back into it, I was, older, a little more. I think I understood a little bit better. I did a lot more research. Um, I kind of figured out the business aspect of it and the importance of marketing it and structuring um your work as a proper business, like in terms of a function of how much money you're bringing in and how to maximize that and how to make sales in your originals and how to pull it all together. And yeah, I would say, like now things are going really well, but it was a long struggle to get here. And I think that's the hardest thing to explain to young artists because no one wants to think about that. The fact that we're artists is we don't want to think about that.
Right.
But it's a if you're going to make this work as a career, you have to. You have to. But a lot of us learn by experience, so it's hard to instill that in someone until they're there and they're just figuring it on their own. That's how it was with me. You
Wow.
know.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. I have three different questions
I feel like a
coming from
dad
that.
saying that.
So no, but you know
Yeah.
what? There's a lot of young people right now that's trying to break into the industry. So it's good information for them to kind of go into because and I was telling Spirit, as you know, last time is that, when you're an artist or you do art, whatever, I fell in love with the art form, the medium of photography. And doing the
Yeah.
business side was more frustrating for me because it started to take away my passion. I had to focus solely on the marketing and let people know who I am and so forth and so on. That I started to
Yeah.
lose my love for it, and I took a step back, which I did. Now for 3 years, I took a step back. I still do it, but it's more so for just my clients that know me and always book me. But it definitely happens because it's that part where you have to want to do the business side to especially for what you guys do because it's it's bigger than just a one-time thing. You're making something that's continuously growing. So it's definitely something
Yeah.
that's hard. But three questions I have. I want to make sure I remember one of them. One of them is are you did the interior art for those people, not just the covers, but you did interior art for Marvel as well?
Oh yeah. I mean, this was a while back. It was called the Hulk and Fantastic Four. It was back when the that original Fantastic Four movie with like um who were the actors in it? Like
Jessica
Jessica
Alba.
Alba and
Yeah.
yeah, it came out and we
Huh.
did this book for it. Yeah. It was wild. And yeah, so okay, but back then, to clarify, I was working with a partner. So I would do the inks and the colors and he was doing the pencils. And then we worked like that for a while, and then we kind of went our own ways. I wanted to do my own stuff for a while, and and plus also at that time I was not fully. I still was wondering like, did I want to go the route of indie comics or commercial
Hmm.
comics because there's a divide between it, at least as I
Hmm.
understood it at the
Hmm.
time. Honestly, now I don't think it even matters.
Hmm.
I don't know why back then it was almost like if you were into indie comics, they looked down on you for being into commercial comics. That's the vibe I got anyway at the time,
Hmm.
and vice versa. And nor in commercial comics respected indie comics 'cause they made no money. But as an art form, yeah, I loved indie comics. I think now it's all so blended, it doesn't even matter anymore. I don't think that's a question that any artist needs to worry about. But at the time, I made it. I at least I made it a big deal in my mind, you know. And so that's why I always kind of teetered in the middle because I loved it all. I loved it all, and I didn't know where to focus for a long time. And I think that's a hard thing as an artist as well. And props to anyone who knows exactly what they want to do. I didn't exactly. I had so many things I wanted to do. Like a part of me wanted to just do like movie posters, book covers. I loved cover work. Um, but again, I didn't know how to get into that because I kind of knew how to get into comics because I was already doing it. I didn't know how to branch out into that. And it's important to really have a focus, I feel. I feel
Hmm.
once you've kind of really established yourself in one, it's easier to branch out then. But at the beginning, we want to do it all. And I think that hinders you, you know,
Yeah.
not having a clear focus. Yeah.
Yeah. That happens. I think in same thing with photography. I focused on landscapes, and I started branching out. I just want to make sure I have a clear understanding of lighting and all that other stuff. So there is a
Yeah.
question here I want to get to before I go into my next one because just so I don't forget and I parking lot it is based off of what you said as far as like I want to go into the timeline of when you get a job for like interiors and how long does it take for you to complete that whole project and so forth and so on. So the reason why I'm asking that is because there's something in it right now in our community where people don't understand the infancy of an idea up until when it actually gets released. So I want people to have a clear understanding at the
Yeah.
possibility of how long it takes from the beginning to the end, and it's really important. But I'm going to ask this question. So I got more
Yeah.
issues. I love this guy. So last question is I have to go. Sorry. If you could go back to the beginning of your career and show your younger self one piece of your current artwork, what would you show him, and what would you tell him? If you can,
Nice question, man.
yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Nice question. Um, oh wow. I think one of my favorite covers that I've done in over the last couple of years, and I mean, I've had a good run.
Mm,
To those who've been following me, I've had a good run, and just a lot of work I'm very proud of. One of the best was Honor and Curse Eternal issue 3, which was um, the female character with the red hair,
mhm.
and it was just like it was a headshot. I did it really quickly, and it just everything gelled for me, and I think it was a perfect example of I didn't look at my influences for that one. That one just came very fluidly for me, and one of the things the younger self of mine was always like, am I just copying or am I being doing anything original? And I would like show him that one and be like,
And
you
that
know,
was Honor and Curse number
this,
three.
this is Honor and Chris number 3. I was really proud of
Okay,
that cover.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
put that there. Who's the
yeah.
publisher?
That's Mad Cave.
Mad Cave. Okay,
Mad
I
Cave.
want to
Yeah.
make sure I have this
Number
that
3,
way.
that cover. Yeah. I
Uh,
was really proud of that cover. No, and again, I mean, I've done a lot of covers I'm really proud of over the last 2 years. Um, like another one would be my first Savage Sword of Conan cover, and Conan, the original Conan the Barbarian, being one of the first IPs that got me into fandom, and then I got to work on a classic Conan book and do the cover for it. That was a trip. That was a bucket list thing, you know,
wow.
and
Uh,
I got a great reception on it. Yeah. That was
Like you
great. That
have
was
a couple of fans in here that said Raw B 559 said yes, that cover is amazing, and Suspiria kind of said yeah, that cover is gorge. So I'm definitely gonna look it up to find out as well, because now I'm interested as well. So
yeah.
I mean, I'm a pretty young
That's an awesome
collector,
series.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, Mad Cave is one of those companies. Like I love what companies like Mad Cave or Heroic Signatures are doing. Heroic with all the Conan, the Robert Howard
Hmm.
IPs, and Mad Cave. They're like this, young company that's just full of enthusiasm. And working with them, I feel like a young comic artist again. That's just doing it because you love it. I love that. I love that feeling because you forget why you did this in the first place until you work with people who are super enthusiastic because a lot aren't. But Mad Cave and Heroic, I'm going to give them super props because they're all like cool as fuck people. You know, I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah, really,
I
really,
have to
man.
agree. I do like them as a publisher. They're one of my ones I have. I have like a separate box for my stuff. Ignition Press is up and coming.
Yeah,
I'm loving Ignition Press. And the stories are so engaging. So about the OA, the original art part of it. Before I go into that other question, because I that was part of my other one. Well, OA, have you ever been to OAX, which is the original art expo here in Orlando? Did you know about it?
no, I haven't. I know of it. I've never been. No.
Okay, please go. And I say that because I met Wayshak there. Wayshak is another one of those artists that has that like different type of very unique art to it and that fine art aspect. I think that's the place where people need to see you because that's where you're gonna get that nice intimate like conversations and those experiences for those collectors. Like for me personally, I didn't know it was my first time going this year. And I didn't know it was I read original art expo, but when you look at the pictures of everyone, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get this signed because I got this cover. But I had no idea the magnitude of all the original art that they have displayed in those pages that they made, and it show how you
Yeah,
transition from one panel to the next. I was in freaking awe because there was a they had a specific room where they had an X-Men run the entire pages from page one to the last page and they showed the progression of it on the wall and I was like oh shit like I was videoing the whole thing and I couldn't believe how beautiful it is but it's the original art it's
yeah.
expensive but it is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen and I was surrounded by so much original art I was overwhelmed I was just like if I ever
Yeah.
had the money to do this I'd be broke because it's beautiful but
It
definitely go.
it it is, man. And I feel you, man. When I look at original art for some books that I just in love with it, you get the feels right away. Um, it's something because you almost you feel like you're connected with the artist. Um, in some degree, and then you're seeing their brushwork or you're seeing their line work if they're using a quill. I love that, man. I love
Mhm.
that, man. You either appreciate it or you don't. And I, for one, I love looking at that. I love it. You know,
100%. I mean,
and
the pages are
it's a trip for me as a professional that if people feel that way about my originals, man, that makes me feel good. Yeah,
Nick, I can only imagine like your original art because even in its condensed state digitally when you look at it on Instagram, it is amazing.
yeah,
Like I went and I even of course zoomed in on the stuff and I'm like this stuff is
yeah.
incredible. Like your line work is by far some of the most beautiful I've ever seen. Like it's really good. And that's not putting it like mildly. I promise y'all, if you've never seen this man's work, please do. Majority of y'all probably already have. That's why you're here. But my goodness, so tell me a little bit about the process that it takes from an idea to
Yeah.
publication. How long does that take and what goes into it?
Um, if you just give me
Hmm.
1 second here, man. I'm gonna plug this in
Hmm.
so it doesn't die on us. All right. All right. So, okay, I'm good. All right. okay, we were going to talk about that, right? Publication.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, and I'm not the best example of this because I'm not a quick interior artist. In fact, I often put in just as much time on my interiors as I do on my covers, which is why covers are like a nice way to basically, you know, make bank because it's a much higher margin for the work you put into. But with the interiors, you get a whole book in it at the end, and you're telling the full story, which itself, it's tedious. And when you're in a bubble doing interiors, and imagine like with an interior, you're doing 22 pages and then waiting months for anyone to see it, you know, before you get a return on it. Whereas with
Mm.
covers, you're getting a return almost immediately, you know. But okay, I'll show you. So with Dead Romans, we started off with a like it was like a 10-page pitch, you know. And you know, usually when you're making a pitch, many of us are all working on other projects at the same time, and a pitch is like ancillary to that. You're doing it on the side. I mean, some people can just focus on it. I didn't. So, you know, it took a while. And plus, I did a lot of research. In this case, it was a historical narrative. I did a lot of research into it before I finally, you know, I collected a shit ton of references before I finally sat down, whipped out his, if Fred is listening to this, he's laughing because it was not a quick process. Um, but anyway, but okay, once we did that, then you're doing the series, and then before you even hit solicitations, for us, we waited a minimum of 4 issues. So think about that. You're doing that
Hmm.
22 pages an issue times four. You know, was that 88 pages? Like that's a while before, and I'm turning over an issue. I'm slow. So maybe like every 3 months, one issue.
Wow.
Some people could do it in every 2 months. You know, I take my time. Um, every 3 months, and then so before you even hit previews, it's been a while, right? And then once you hit previews, though, you're kind of in a groove at that point. Those last couple issues you can really hammer out. Um, so at that, you're looking at a year and a half to 2 years before you're going to see anything on the shelf, right? It's laborious, and before you even see a return. Now, and this is why I encourage artists: if you're going to do something like this as a creator-owned, do it with an advance because no matter how enthusiastic you are, if you don't have working capital to begin with, you'll burn out. You'll burn out. It's not feasible. So, you know, you do it with an advance and then somehow, you know, make an arrangement where whoever supplied the advance gets paid off with the initial sales and you go from there. And then you divide all further profit equally. That's the way we do it. And that's the way most, I think that's the functional way to do it,
Hmm.
you know, but give no illusions that it's going to be quick for anyone looking into getting into their own creator own book. It's not a quick process, you know. Um, so just be patient. But if you have your idea, you're going to make it work. And I've always thought that, like, um, if it's something you really want to do, it's going to happen. You're gonna be so fixated on doing it, you're going to make it happen. You know, and I think that's the way we weed out people who where it's just you know, it's just a lark. It's just a little passing fancy for them because once you see how much work is involved, most people bow out. You know, comics, it's a labor of love, man. You know, there's so many easier ways to make money than comics, but we do it because we love storytelling. We love the art. We like I love sequential story. For me, it's frame by frame movies. You know, I look at it with just as high regard as I do with film, and I'm also a big film buff. You know,
Same. Huge. So
yeah,
you
yeah.
wrote Dead Romans too, or you just did the interior?
Fred did. I
Okay.
did the interiors. Fred wrote it, but
Okay.
it's very much a collaboration, and you know, our approach to it. And one reason that I really get along well with Fred is Fred doesn't micromanage. You know, Fred gives me his script, and he's like, the final product is my interpretation of his script. Never once has he said to me, "Oh, this is not what I was thinking." Never once, you know? He's just like, but I think we're just on the same, we share the same brain. And he looks at the art I submit and he's just like, dude, like that's exactly what I imagined, you know? And if you have a partnership like that, it works, you
That
know?
good synergy always produces great products. So you're right.
100%, man. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And believe me, man, I've worked with writers who want to micromanage you right away, and there's a reason I'm not working with them anymore because it doesn't work. It doesn't work, man. Like, if you're a writer, be a writer. Don't be a director. Don't be an artist because you're not. I mean, you're an artist in terms of the literary aspect of it, sure, but you're not a visual artist. Be honest with yourself. So don't try to micromanage a visual artist, if you're a writer.
Hmm, I love that.
That's my opinion. Yeah.
Suspiria question. She said, if you could mash up Dead Romans with another comic or book, which one would that be? Don't say Dead Romans and Zombies, she said.
Oh no, never zombies. No, no, man, I don't play that. Oh my God. What a question. This is superior, man.
Like, would you go from something that's similar in the same vein as Dead Romans, or would you go something totally different to mash up? Like, wait,
I was literally just thinking about it. Well, okay. No, I will say this. Okay, so I love horror, and to a degree, I mean, we were talking about horror. Dead Romans is in in one aspect a horror comic where yes, it's historically based and it's very factual. It's a love story in another vein, and it's also a horror because a lot of the story takes place with these guys in this forest as their countrymen are being absolutely butchered and sacrificed in the distance in the dark forest, and you're hearing their screams for days on end as they're trying to get out of this forest. Um, so I would have mashed up. I would say my next step would have been to do it even harder. Mash up Dead Romans with like a like full on horror. And Fred and I are actually thinking of doing that in the future. Not specifically Dead Romans, but doing like a full core slash military mashup.
huh?
That's what I would love to do. Yeah.
Oh,
Even
okay.
Suspiria and I are actually, I don't know if she told you, we have a project in mind, which would be like a body horror. Um,
So
uh,
he didn't say it was
and that's
you.
all her. Like, yeah.
She didn't say
Yeah.
it was you, but she said she was working with someone
Yeah.
on, like, a partner on something that's uh out the box. She said it was something that, and I
Yeah.
was like, well, I was very curious, but now you've piqued my interest even more, because between you two
Yeah.
together, having that horror influence and also the way your art is, it already has a sense of like eerie, ominous feel to it, like both of you. So fusing that
Yeah.
together is going to be simply incredible. Have you already like worked it out? Are you writing it with her? Are you co-writing? What does that look like?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's still in its very inception, but we're doing it completely collaboratively, and if you don't know, Suspiria, she's like an encyclopedia of horror knowledge. Man, she knows everything. I don't even have to look it up. I just ask her. She's like, yeah, yeah, that's this movie. This is the director. These are the actors. It's insane. So yeah, and we're doing it, um, she started by just like throwing me this like idea sheet and being like, "What do you think of this?" And I'm like, That's great. Let me work off that," and it's just,
Mhm.
and it really blends our mutual sense of humor
Yes.
and our aesthetic ideals. I mean, that's the whole point of it. You know, so
I can only imagine, like, the beauty of it, especially being in this industry, is finding like-minded people and having that same dynamic, because you both are your humor is like right here with each other. She was such a pleasure to interact with, and so are you. You both are. I have another question
Absolutely.
here.
And yeah,
Mhm. Oh, please,
sure.
you first.
Yeah, no, no, you go. You go. You go.
So I have a question from my twin, is what I call him, because we share the same birthday. He's trying to get into art as well, or he's starting to do it. Actually, not trying, but he's starting to start his art career. He said, how do rights work when you collaborate on a book? Typically, if you draw it, do you own the rights to the art?
Well, that's something you establish with your partner, you know. In for example, with Dead Romans, it's a 50-50 split. And um it all kind of depends, when did you come on to the project, in my opinion. But really, that's something you got to work out. There's no rule to it. It's whatever you guys agree with. But don't undersell yourself. I think artists are notorious for underselling ourselves. Um, just remember, all visual artists out there, the guys doing the drawing, the book does not exist without you. So never undersell yourselves to an overzealous writer.
Hmm.
That's my take. You're worth the book. There is no book without you. So don't let anyone say that your contribution is less. If they don't agree with it, walk. Yep. And I stand by that.
I love that. I love that because I had a discussion with my podcast people. I love my host, but my take on this is when it comes to the writing, um, I won't say what specific writer they're in love with, but I was like, yo, we have to also give kudos to the also creative team that built this on top of what the writer had, because visually you wouldn't have got anything, unless it was for the artists, the colorists, the inkers,
Absolutely.
everyone. I was like, you can't just give kudos to just the writer and say the writer did this, like he's amazing. No,
Absolutely.
there's a combination of things to make that work the way it does.
Yep.
And so I'm always big on
Absolutely.
giving credit to the creative team. I'm
And
always big on that.
100%. And I will say, um, and I think we all go through this the further we progress as professionals. Any experienced writer, you never have these issues with, because they all understand how the game works. They all understand the mutual contribution, and they will never marginalize their artists. It's always the noobs who think that they are, they're the shit, and oh, it's their book. I tell you, man, this is time and time again, this is what it's been like. I've never dealt with this once you get to a certain level of status, but how I dealt with this so much early on, it's like, oh my God, it's like, it's crazy. People just have their egos. You're really just dealing with egos. Whereas I think if you stick it out long enough, everyone's had their ego quashed enough that they're much more respectful of each other. I think anyone who's been doing this for 15 to 20 years, you know how the game is, and you're going to be respectful. You're not going to be a douchebag, because douchebags don't last long in this ring, because everyone knows they're douchebags,
I was about to
you
say
know?
that. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
well, I won't go into
Yeah.
that, but okay. So what's the
Yeah.
biggest
Some of
obstacle?
them sneak through.
Some of
Yeah.
them been here for a while. What's the biggest obstacle
Yeah.
you've overcome as an artist?
Oh, just your own insecurity. Easy, easy answer. Your own.
Mm.
I think there's nothing that holds you back more than your own insecurity. There's nothing that got you to the next level other than having the confidence to say, "Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, I'm good enough for that." Yeah, that's it. It's weird. It's so psychological at the root, you know. And for me, it's like, I don't even like. I'll look at work I did 10 years ago, and it's actually good. But at the time, I was just like, what are you even doing in this business anymore? And I look at it now, I'm like, you are your own worst enemy, because this stuff was the bomb. It was good. You had nothing. to feel shy about, and it was just your own insecurities that made you think that you needed more practice, kind of deal. Yeah. You eventually reach just the point where you're like, I've been doing this long enough. I'm old enough. I'm curmudgeonly enough and grumpy enough that I just don't give a fuck anymore. And for me, that's what it took. It took me getting to a level in my life where I just didn't give a fuck anymore. And I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm doing. I don't care what anyone thinks anymore. I love doing this. And at that point, then people started noticing it's weird. It's weird how that is, right? It's like the universe is not telling you, oh, you know, finally, finally you get it.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Once you get into that groove and that acceptance,
Yeah,
it definitely it
yeah,
makes a turn for the better because then I think what it brings attention to your confidence. Like you know what I'm saying, you're no longer
yeah,
in that space of like, am I good or whatever it is. You just get to the point where you just like, I am good. And I don't give a fuck.
yeah,
So
yeah. I'm pretty fucking good. Yeah. I'm pretty fucking good. And okay, and you know what? I'm not gonna denigrate guys who got into it super confident. Hey man, I wish I had that confidence and they did really well. Kudos to you. But I think, some of them were, whatever. I'm not gonna say. But I think there's nothing wrong with just putting the work in and building yourself up. And then when you finally get there, you put the work in, you deserve it. And um, yeah, you worked for it. You didn't take any shortcuts. I didn't, you know,
yeah,
and
Sister
then you have
Spirit
something to be
actually
proud
gave
of.
a nod to that. She said the same thing. She said there are no shortcuts. So
Yeah,
I'll say this real quick because we're gonna close out soon. So I want to make sure I get this question in here. Um, if
yeah.
you could work on any current comic book, but we're gonna take horror out. Any current comic, what would it be and why? Matter of fact, I'll make this even
Yeah.
harder. I'll say, what current comic book at DC or Marvel specifically, because the indie space, you guys have so much
I
freedom
knew you were
to
gonna
actually
say
do whatever you want.
I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that.
I want to put the clinks on there. I want to put the cups on. So if you could do work on any comic,
I
Marvel or DC, what would it be and why?
I get a lot of people asking me about the absolutes, obviously, specifically Batman, Catwoman. I get commission requests for that all the time, and they're like, "Why are you not working?" And I get it. I would. I mean, would I do it? Sure, sure. If the opportunity presented itself. Um, with Marvel, I think I've always had an affinity for something like Daredevil. And Fred
Hmm.
and I have always talked about doing a Silver Surfer, even though, you know, I just think that would be something fun, something spacey and fun. I think Fred could knock that out of the park.
Huh.
Um, and I think the way I would approach the art would be something different than
Okay,
people
I
are
was just
accustomed
about
to,
to ask you.
or that. Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
the reason why is because like the Daredevil, I could absolutely see you do Daredevil, even with the style you have now, fit in perfectly. There's
Yeah,
nothing that
yeah,
needs to be done. But my when you said Silver Surfer, my head was like, how would that fit? And now because of the space aspect of it and the roundness and everything of his body shining, I'm like, how would you actually do that? Would you? And you just said it. You would switch up. And that makes me even more interested in the fact that you have the
yeah,
ability to say, I can switch it up on people. So people don't even really know what you're really fully capable of. And the fact that you're confident in saying, I would
yeah.
switch it up, do something different.
And I do I love doing that. You fall into a niche that people expect you. For me, people all want me to do like sword and sandal stuff, and nothing wrong with that. Hey, I love that. I love that. That's why I did Dead Romans. That's why I do all the Conan stuff because I love that shit. Um, but is it all I ever want to do? No. I do want to do like a complete 180 and do some really hardcore space shit.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. I
yeah.
like it. So I think they were
Yeah.
telling me that I need to get Fred on the podcast too to interview him. So I'm gonna have to reach out to Fred, or you can ask Fred if he would be like to get on here too. But I'm gonna ask you. Well,
Oh,
we need to
Fred's hilarious. He's
yeah.
hilarious.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I gotta
Yeah.
do a triple threat. So we got Suspiria, super
Yeah.
hilarious. Then we got you on here, and then Fred, triple threat. I gotta have it. I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna reach out. Give me his contact. I'm also
Yeah.
gonna end up. I already have your contact information, but I am going to try to commission Suspiria for a piece. I want you to do one for me as well, because I have the perfect comic I think that you would rock out. But we'll talk about that afterwards.
Um,
Um,
right on.
creator owned projects. You said what is it? Dead Romans.
Yeah.
Dead Romans. Is it complete now? Are you working on a second arc? Tell me more about Dead Romans and what. How can
Yeah.
we actually get a hold of that book?
Okay, so the first arc, yes, it's complete. It was released with Image Comics Shadowline, Jim Valentino's imprint. It is available in hardcover right now, which includes the first 6 issues. It's a gorgeous hardcover. Boy, did Jim do like an amazing production with it. Fred and I are currently working on the second arc with the same team. Allison O'Toole, editor, Jose Villarubia on covers, Andrew on letters, and exactly the same team. And we're at issue 4 right now. We're going to get the whole series done before we hit previews. We were hoping to get it this year. I don't know if that's going to happen right now, just because I'm slow as fuck and I'm doing a ton of covers. But it's going to get done soon. By like San Diego next year, yes, it'll be done. And yeah, it's Dead Romans 2. It's called Dead Romans Invicta. And it's a direct continuation. It takes place 10 years after the first series ended. All the same surviving characters. No spoilers. You got to get the first book if you want to find out who actually lived.
I'm doing it.
A
I'm gonna
lot
have
of people died. A lot of people died. Hence the dead. It's not
to.
alive Romans. They're all dead. Yeah,
They're all dead and coming in with new
they're all
Romans.
dead.
We can kill them too
Yeah,
in part two.
we weren't exaggerating with the title. They're all dead. Yeah.
More dead Romans. Number two.
More. Well, that was a working title. More dead Romans. You
More
know.
more dead Romans. That's actually
Yeah.
brilliant.
It was it was more dead Romans or dead Germans as a switcheroo.
Oops.
But yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so we do have a question here. So will you be at SDCC 27? So I was actually that goes in line
yes,
with my questions. Are
yeah,
you doing any cons for the rest of the year as well as what does it look like next year?
yes. As a matter of fact, I am. So I will be at Fan Expo Toronto next week, or rather, not next week. This week. It's this
This week.
coming
Yep.
weekend.
Hmm.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. For all those in Toronto or neighboring. We got a lot of people from like Michigan coming up. I will be okay. I'm not going to be tabling at NYCC, but I will be there doing signings. So I'll be like that, like really attractive hobo going around from table to table and doing the occasional signing. I'll be there. Anyone wants to meet me, just reach out. Look for that really attractive hobo. That's me. Okay. Then I will be tabling at Galaxy Columbus in December.
Okay.
So, and it's the first time I've been doing a Galaxy show. I will be there. It's first week of December, first weekend or December. Next year, though, yes, I will be at San Diego. So,
Okay.
with Dead Romans 2.
I'm going to petition for
Yeah.
you to be at MegaCon if you can make it. Because MegaCon, my brother actually just said that. He's also MegaCon 27. I introduced him to MegaCon last year. So we're trying to make this a thing every single year.
Yeah.
So MegaCon, they of course you can make requests. So I'm gonna start making my requests like now. So if you
Yeah.
are interested in coming to Orlando, you're gonna be loved here. Especially because we have a bunch of
Oh my
people
God.
that live art. So
Yes, I am. I was, I heard nothing but amazing things about it from a
mhm.
certain Suspiria, and
Yep.
I will absolutely aim for that. It was really just getting Dead Romans 2 out.
Okay.
Um, and then Yeah, what month is Orlando? That's
They moved it now to May. So it was in March, but
to
now it's going to
May.
be in
Oh,
May of next year.
yeah,
So yeah,
that's doable. Yeah, yep.
definitely. We have somebody in here says Iman Tony 9914 says hi, as well as Nick's US tour fire emoji. Yes, where's you on a petition for Nick's US tour as well
Yeah,
as Suspiria?
yeah.
Listen, I just need both of y'all at the table. That's the way y'all can just sit there and just laugh because I am gonna have a wonderful time, honestly. So thanks for giving us some insight about if we're gonna be seeing you out on cons because as you can see, I think we're
Yeah.
all super excited about it. Honestly, we really are. So let's see here. Oh, we have someone that says, I recently found a copy of Night Wolf. I'll have to get you to sign this
Oh
weekend.
my
So it
God.
looks like
Who
somebody
wrote
will be
that?
there.
Who wrote
Actual
that?
Dracula 237 said they'll be there. Toronto looks like.
Oh my gosh. Nightwolf. Oh, okay. Okay, that was like young me. Can I ask which issue that they have
Which
of
issue?
Nightwolf?
Actual Dracula. When they're putting in the chat there. Let us know what that looks like for you.
Okay. Okay, props to you for finding Nightwolf. You know, I was young when I did that, and that was my very first thing that I drew, that I took full drawing and inking um
Wow.
credits on, you know? Yeah. Nightwolf.
He said issue 0. He said the art is amazing.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. You know what? Nightwolf got optioned to be made into a series. And that option was running for a few years. I mean, this was a while back. It was by the producers who did Prison Break,
Hmm.
and they optioned Nightwolf. And I remember thinking, "Oh my God, I did this." We were originally going to do another arc to it, but then it didn't pan out. But oh my God, thank you for bringing up Nightwolf. That is like something from my past, man.
I
You
always
know?
love when I get to learn stuff from people too that like these are collectors. Again, I'm kind of a baby collector. I was collecting when I was younger. I stopped for over 20, 30 years and I picked it up about
Yeah.
2.5 years ago now. So for me, I'm learning about all these things that's out there. So now it's time for me to only true fans know about Nightwolf. Yeah, so it's like I get to now learn and then kind of go back and see
Yes.
exactly what that looks like because this is great information for me to arm me with. So that way I'm like I want to get my knowledge up when it comes to comic books again. But this is huge.
Yeah.
So let us all know um, how can listeners best support your work now.
Well, thank you for asking. You know, it's always great to have engagement on Instagram. Whenever, if you see me at shows, definitely say hi. And obviously grab, I'm very, I am always promoting my new covers, my new works. Grab them if you can. If you dig the art, if you dig it, no pressure, but grab my shit when you see it. And definitely Dead Romans, people. If you don't have the hardcover yet, get it. You will not be disappointed. The hardcover is beautiful. You know, it's a limited run. Get it while it's available. If you can't get it at your neighborhood comic shop, get it through my web store. Um, I love that book. And then obviously when Dead Romans 2 comes out, Dead Romans, that's Fred and I, we put in so much life into that series, and we can't wait for the next arc to come out, and
I, I'm
and for
definitely
all
gonna
of you
lock
to be
in.
blown away by it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna be locked in now because now I need to know. I'm gonna contact my LCS tomorrow to see if they can pull it to order it for me.
yeah.
So how can they how can they connect with you online? Like where are you at online so that we connect with you? I know you said Instagram,
Oh,
but tell
easily.
us what your Instagram page is called.
Instagram. It's just at Nick Marinkovich. Um, first last name altogether, Nick Marinkovich. Then I also have my website, which is nickmarinkovich.com. For work inquiries, please use that one. And you just see like prints I have available, books I have available. For example, if you can't find Dead Romans, that's a place you can get it from. Um, you know, I always try to avoid people DMing me, but honestly, I enjoy answering DMs on Instagram. I always like to chat with fans. It's getting tedious now because I'm getting quite a big following, but
Hmm.
I still love it, because I'm still a fan at heart. So when someone reaches out to me, I always try to if I don't get in touch with anyone, honestly, it's just because I'm inundated with DMs, and sometimes you're overwhelmed. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think a lot of us are like that. We all try to get back. It's not like we don't want to. It's just sometimes, man, you get so many in a single day, and you're like, I'll answer a few, but some always fall into the cracks. It's not that you mean to. You just, you know, you, it's not like Suspiria. She gets like marriage proposals on her DMs.
I think my brother
I don't have
wanted
any
to as
yet.
well. I'm not sure, but I think
Yeah,
yeah.
if your
My bro-
brother wants to send me a marriage proposal, I'm game.
I'm gay,
Because I
100%.
haven't had any, and it's a life experience, and I'm waiting for that. But yeah.
I I absolutely I absolutely love y'all for real. Like honestly, I'm having the best time. I didn't know like I mean look, I had to when meeting Suspiria the first time was amazing. And then the second time, and then having the interviewer and I'm just like this is so amazing. But having to interact with y'all too, I can only imagine with y'all two together the mess that goes on with y'all both
Oh my
together.
God, you should meet her at a con. She's like the funniest person you'll
She
ever
is.
meet in your life.
Ah,
Yeah.
I met her at it was two events. It was MegaCon last year as well as Heroes Con. Heroes Con, she
Oh,
actually did
May
this for
of
me.
course, of
Yeah,
course.
oh,
Yeah.
I loved it. She did a remark for me for Chitara, which I absolutely loved. I showed it on my thing last time, but I I I'm definitely I
One of
need
my
to now get
favorite characters.
yeah.
I love
Oh
Chitara.
man, listen,
Yes.
I need I'm gonna need a remark from you as well, a remark. But this is her remark.
Oh my God, that's a perfect Chitara. Yeah.
Yes.
I told her Chitara was one of my adolescent crushes, my
Yes.
animated crushes.
Same.
You
Same.
know. Yeah.
Same.
We were gonna get married, and I was gonna have her babies. It didn't happen, but someday.
Well,
Yeah.
now I need you to give me something as well. So everybody that actually do on my pod, that comes on my pod, I need a remark, I need a sketch or something. It has to
Yeah.
happen because what I plan to do is my goal is to take this wall and change it to all the artists that I meet and I talk to and have a remark or sketch on my wall. So that's gonna be my goal. So that's gonna like I know these things are all precious and everything, but what means more is
Yeah.
this because this is personalized and this is a one of one. So I want to have all of that
Yeah.
on my wall. That's the goal.
And you have an awesome wall there, man. I love the way you did that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks amazing, man. My wall looks boring as shit compared to yours, man. Like,
I bet
I
you got
gotta
some
do
goodies.
something. I got some goodies. They're all in a box,
Yeah,
but
mine too.
I
But
gotta do
yeah,
what you're doing right now. Yeah.
yeah. This is me fanboying all the things that I had when I was a young kid. I'm from the '70s, but I started collecting in the '80s. Mid '80s to late '80s is when I started collecting as a kid. And some of these are ones that I had, and I ended up losing them. Well, not losing them. It was an unfortunate story, but I'm recollecting them now. So it's like it's a
Yeah.
big piece of nostalgia for me. So and I get to now get I get to actually talk to the people that I actually was reading their works. So this is like come full circle. So I'm loving this. I definitely appreciate your time today. I think everybody that's been in the chat, I appreciate y'all being here, interacting with Nick, asking them questions, interacting with us. It's been a pleasure, man. Honestly, this has been so much fun, and I'm thankful that you said
Same,
yes.
man. Oh, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it, and I love speaking with other fellow enthusiasts and professionals. We all do this because we love it, and it's always a great conversation because in our world, no one else knows these topics of conversation. We don't. That's why like this is always special to me, man. I love it. I love it. Thanks, man. Yeah.
Honestly, it's been such
Anytime.
a great thing. I the reason why I say that I love when I get a yes because it goes to show how much appreciate your fans. You know what I'm saying? Because then now it shows like you're. I don't know. There's something about the big wigs that only do interviews with big influencers or whatever. I don't have a big following, but for me,
Yeah,
it's always a pleasure to interact with you all because you guys are heroes. Like to me, to myself, as many as well as
yeah.
others. Like you're heroes. So actually having to be able to talk to a hero personally, it means so much. Like honestly, you have no idea how much this means.
Oh, I do know how much that means because I'm still a fanboy at heart. And when I go to conventions, believe it or not, and I appreciate what you're saying, but there's still people that I go to as a fan. And when I'm greeted warmly, it's I feel on top of the world. When you're greeted coldly, oh my God, it's the worst feeling in the world. And and it's happened, and I'm like, I never want to do that to a fan. Never, never, never. Like I hope I never get so jaded in my life that I would react negatively or coldly to a fan because it's like, oh my God, someone is giving you their attention because they love your work. Why is that making you bitter? If you're that bitter in life, like I'm sorry, man, but figure some shit out because I think I'm never gonna stop being elated by that, you know?
Yeah, I ran into a few. I ran into a few as a fan, and it wasn't
Oh
pleasant. It
no,
wasn't
we all
pleasant.
have.
So yeah,
Believe me,
so
we all have. I have stories. I don't want to drop names, but we all have stories of,
yep.
hero worship that was just like, oh my God, what was that?
What was that?
And but you can either get jaded by it or just say, whatever, man. Some people they have a cloud over them and big deal. A lot of people don't because for every one of those stories I have a bunch of other stories with people who are amazing. And that's what I want to focus on, you know?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it
Yeah.
was a pleasure. I don't want to take too much more of your time. I'm definitely going to get with you regarding seeing if I can get a remark or something done on one of my books. And also, I am going to tap into Dead Romans. That's a for sure. So I am going to get that.
Yeah.
And of course, once I read it, and I'll do a review on it as well, as I normally do with most of my books. But thank you so much, Nick. So honestly, though, I thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll be interacting with you on Instagram. So hopefully I'll see you at a con.
Awesome. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And if you're like at New York,
Yep, I'm gonna try.
reach out. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for your time.
Thanks, man. Thanks, dude. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye bye now.
See ya.
All right, see you. All right, everybody. Thank y'all so much for being here. Honestly, I had such a great time. It was a great interview. Just so y'all know, there probably will be some little I forgot what they call them, snippets or something that I'll do put out there. Also, there it was already on the books right now is going to be Doug Wagner. Doug Wagner is going to be on the pod October 10th. So you guys are getting this information live right now. That's who I have coming in October 10th. So Doug Wagner, who did a series of different books, the Material Verse, as you know, it is plastic, vinyl, plush. He did I was a fashion school serial killer. He did Narco. He just did a new for what is it? Fumi? What is it? He did this now as well. Yumi. So he did Yumi. So all those books, he did those. We've already got it locked in. Please watch again October 10th. I will be putting out a reminder September 10th to give you guys 30 days to get prepared for that interview as well. He is a writer. Hopefully I could try to go ahead and secure the artist as well. Who is oh my gosh, it's gonna get. I can't believe I forgot his name. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get the artist as well. But Doug Wagner is already secured for October 10th. Look out for the announcement, y'all. It's going down. I'm not playing in this space, y'all. I'm trying to get y'all to come in and engage with all the people that we absolutely love. I am trying to secure one more name, but I can't say it yet until he actually agrees. He already is trying. We're trying to come up with a date, but he is another huge one for me personally. So I'm super excited, y'all. Keep it locked. Thank y'all for being here. Honestly, I love the engagement. I appreciate every single one of y'all. Let's go until the next time, man. This is what it's all about. Bring the community together. We embrace these artists, embrace these creators, because they're doing all the hard work for us to enjoy their work. Y'all, I'm out to the next time, man. I appreciate y'all. Let's go.